We're at Fitzgerald Marine Reserve. It's a new hiking destination off Half Moon Bay. A couple that I talked to in Sonoma when I was hiking told me about this place. So this is a new place to explore. Fitzgerald Marine Reserve. It's a marine protected area, so absolutely no collecting. Still high tide, so the tide pools are not visible, but the ranger said in about 4 o'clock the rangers just opened the access to the beach where the harbor seals usually rest with their babies, so hopefully they're back on along the beach. It's still high tide, so the tide pools and all the things that needs to be seen around the beach is not yet possible, and the bridge that connects this place to the hiking trail is also broken, so and there's another way has to access the trail by driving to another gate. So we'll be back at around 5 o'clock for the tide pool. This is the other entrance to the Marine Reserve. Hello. Thank you. Rich and colorful history of the place. The early developers were the Portuguese whalers that used the cove at Pillar Point from 1860 to 1880. Then in 1881 to 1911, Virgin Winky operates Moss Beach Hotel and plants hundreds of cypress trees still seen in the reserve today. Then tourism, rum running, and bootlegging. Ocean Shore Railway brings tourism from San Francisco. Then on 1920 to 1933, prohibition. Illegal alcohol is smuggled up the foggy coast by rum runners and bootleggers to illegal bars like Frank Places operating as the distillery. And in the 1940s, Charlie Ney hosts celebrities, tourists, and locals in his famous restaurant, The Ribs, built right on Moss Beach. That thing in the horizon in the ocean was a warning marker built by the US Navy in 1940s, just before World War II. A red flag on top warned planes and ships about target practice. Today, cormorants and other birds use it to bruise and dry their wings. Walking along the beach now before I go up to the hiking trail. So there's that warning structure that the US Navy built in 1940s before the World War II. There's a lot of residences along this reserve. I'm gonna do a short walk along the beach. A lot of kids enjoying.
Guys, it's time for us to fight. Come on.
Hello. Heading now to the trail. Continuing with these stairs. Heading now to the hiking trail, and I suppose these cypress trees are part of those that Wenke planted during the 1800s. And there's a place they called it here the Cypress Tunnel, so I would like to see it. Heading to the Bluff Trail. This is the view from the Bluff Trail. Looks like there's also a parking lot out there on the bluff. These must be some of the cypress trees that were planted here in the 1800s. It's amazing how they survive the coastal weather for hundreds of years. I'm now midway through the Cypress Tunnel, what they call the Cypress Tunnel. The cypress tunnel goes all the way to the bluff. Back to the bluff trail. Looks like still high tide. Dalawang yun kanina pa, yakapan ng yakapan. Marine mammals along the coast. The ranger said there were a couple of whales they seen earlier. Andito sila ngayon dalawa, lumipat dito. Tukaan ng tukaan kanina pa. So the tide is getting lower, so the tide pool, or part of the tide pool, is getting visible, and I can see all these kids waiting. And that's the town of Moss Beach. It's a tiny village or town by the coast, between closer to Montara, on the way to Half Moon Bay. Never thought of this place, or there's such a place like this here. We always pass by this town. In fact, there are already people exploring the tide pools. It's amazing how the tide can go so fast. Those tide pool rocks were not even visible an hour ago when we were there. Going around the loop, or the trail loop, and I think this is the area where the ranger said the bridge connecting the tide pool areas to the hiking trail is broken, so it's closed. This is part of the history of Moss Beach. So they were able to preserve this. They now call the place distillery. This is where they used to smuggle illegal alcohols during the Prohibition. That's the distillery. Now a bar and restaurant.